Good morning. How are you,
Good
Mary
morning
Lou?
and welcome to Maidens of the Spear. I'm Mary Lou,
I'm Sarah Kaplan.
and today we're talking trailer baby.
Um, this is something we talked about. She is wearing
Which one person
this
may kill
blue
another.
outfit while swearing the oaths. That's the outfit
Yeah.
we see her walk out of the White Tower, the Hall of the Sitters, with Lan. Leandrin and Alana are full sisters. This is Aes Sedai, Moiraine, re-swearing oaths.
Re-swearing.
So we don't know what that means. Um, it might mean she is brought before, because this seems like the original time she swears. She's in her accepted white,
Right.
but now she's
I swear
re-swearing as
to
an Aes
speak no
Sedai,
word
and
that
it's
is not true.
interesting.
To make no weapon.
So do we think they're bringing in the Black Aja plot earlier? Maybe she was brought up on charges of like treason and had to re-swear.
I think that's entirely possible. Also, I wasn't able to watch like Rafe's interview or Rosamund's interview on the Dusty Wheel when the trailer was first released. And I know they gave us some like interesting tidbits. So Sarah, if you think of any of those interesting tidbits as
There
we
were
are
a
watching.
few. We will discuss them. Marisu is most confused over this scene. Matt
Yeah.
Stacker ponders whether it's an oath to find the Dragon Reborn. Additional oaths before the Hall, asks Talmanes. Could Leandrin get exposed? Asks
Not
Marisu.
yet. I don't think so. I think Leandrin's Black Aja status is going to be a major
That's going to be it.
reveal later in the season. If
Yeah.
I had to guess, I think you're right, Sarah, that she's brought up on charges of treason or charges of, unwhite tower conduct and has to re-swear. I don't think her mission to find the Dragon Reborn is going to be known in the White Tower. Like in the books, I think it's still going to be secret.
I see.
That's my opinion. What do you think, Sarah?
I don't think it's an oath to find the Dragon Reborn. I've seen people postulating that this is not Swan, this is a flashback.
But that's her dress.
I think it's her dress, and we know that Lan is with her right after this scene.
Yeah.
And
That's Swan's dress. You
is
can see the stripes of the Ajas right there in the corner.
well, I know that you might think it was a different Amyrlin wearing an Amyrlin dress.
In the same dress.
Yeah, if it's just like official garb.
But
I think this is Swan. I think this
Swan.
is during the events of the season. And I think she's being brought forward. I think she's being charged with treason for running around, and maybe something happens after Logain. That
maybe for the death of Stepan's Aes Sedai, maybe somehow they're going to blame Moiraine for that. Maybe
they might blame Moiraine because she's been gone from the tower. I think maybe it's possible if they suspect Black Aja was involved in Logain escaping, then they have them all re-swear their oaths. And definitely Alana and Leandrin and Moiraine. And I saw some discussion of this, and people are like, but how could Leandrin do this and be exposed? It's like, well, if they're only just making them re-swear their oaths, there's ways she could get around it, potentially. Because she could forswear her Black Aja oaths, swear these, and then just go back and redo the Black Aja bit.
In Shaiol Ghul, right?
Later.
Or at another dark dinner party. God, I hope we get the dark dinner party.
Okay, so we got some other theories. Caitlin says, I thought maybe they were letting them choose their Aja prior to taking the oaths and letting them get dressed as a sister.
Oh, interesting.
I don't think so. Because she wouldn't have Lan with her.
This
wouldn't
just
have
looks
Lan
too much like that scene.
Oh, wait, in New Spring, does she meet Lan as an accepted? She's already an Aes Sedai, right?
I think she's already an Aes Sedai when she's assigned Lan.
She's not assigned Lan.
Or she's not assigned Lan, but they choose each other, rather.
Yeah. They meet. She dumps him in a lake. Or he pushes her in a lake, and then she drops the lake on him.
Right.
And I think the fact that it's Alana and Leandrin, they look exactly the same as they do during the Logain capture. I think it's important that it's the three of them, which is why I think it's post Logain.
I think maybe, okay, this is a wild speculation, but I think that maybe Moiraine does something that leads to the escape of Logain. or it could be understood as the reason why Logain escaped, probably because she has other priorities, right? Her priorities are finding the Dragon Reborn. So maybe she chooses that over doing something that would have like be understood to lead to the escape of Logain. So they're like, why would you do that? That's some Black Aja shit. And she has to come back and re-swear her oaths.
Yeah. So Marisu says she meets Lan months after becoming an Aes Sedai near Chachin.
Yeah.
Caitlin says she becomes she's already an Aes Sedai when she meets Lan, but she doesn't have the ageless face yet. But Lisa Donaldson says she did hear that Moiraine was pushed to go back to the tower and that she's in trouble with the Hall. So it could very well be that she's forced to re-swear or swear another oath.
And that's really similar to the books. So I would like that. If she's like really in trouble and that's why she's being forced to the Hall of the Sitters, why we've seen that scene of her walking up in front of the Amyrlin with Alanna and Liandrin behind her, right? So it could be that they're like witnesses to Moiraine needing.
We know that the Hall hates her.
This reprimanding.
Like, we know when she talks with Swan and Fal Dara at the beginning of the Great Hunt, Swan is like, look, there's talk in the Hall, even from the Greens who have allied with the Reds, that you should be sent to serve penance on a farm with a Red sister in charge of you.
Yeah.
So this could be hinting at that drama brought forward. SC2 Wingless says this could be a fake out for the trailer. Yeah, so I think the audio we hear of the oaths are from Moiraine as an accepted.
I agree.
I don't know what we're hearing over this right now. I do also love that we get the gentle Swan Moiraine finger touch.
Oh,
here.
That is sexy.
Yeah.
God, I hope that's a plot line. Ooh, I hope they keep that.
With which one person
I love the design of the Oath Rod. Also.
Me too.
It's like perfect. And I love the way the power fills it.
kill another, and never to.
I really hate these shield balls. It just looks like bad CGI to me. Like the way it's moving, it's jittery. There's like no easing. I don't know. I just think it's bad CGI. And I was talking to Ember. For reference, Ember is my girlfriend's girlfriend. And Ember works in VFX on major TV shows like Marvel properties and stuff.
So she knows what she's talking about.
She does know what she's talking about. And her take on the channeling CGI from the trailer was like, yeah, a lot of it just looks like temp effects I would do as like a previs thing. Like it doesn't look like final effects work.
Interesting.
But she also says she doesn't think there's any way that a temp effect would make it into a trailer. So I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe that's where they decided maybe they decided to spend their budget elsewhere. Which
so they clearly decided to spend their budget elsewhere.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I would rather they spend their budget on costuming, location, set design, than CGI.
So far, it's really just the choice of how to demonstrate the shielding that I don't like. These like weird little dragon eggs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like them. But hey, whatever. Hopefully, shielding isn't omnipresent.
Yeah.
And never to use the one power as a weapon.
Do you know what Aes Sedai means in the old tongue?
Right? Like, Moiraine is very much at the head of that. So that makes me think that it's not Liandrin and Moiraine and Alanna who are being called to be reprimanded. It's just Moiraine who's being reprimanded. And it's Liandrin and Alanna who are, like, delivering her as witnesses or something like that. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
But when they, like, walk out of the hall in that clip we've seen, it is definitely like Moiraine in the lead, but Alanna is with her. But she could be there as a guard. I like the idea. The Meme Reborn says, I bet it will look better in the show. Matt Stagger thinks the flows will improve as we progress.
I think they will improve, and I think they will become like more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the point of view will become clearer. Right now, we're just seeing a lot of it because we need to like get it across to the uninitiated viewer what's going on. But I think as later seasons progress and we like get it, everybody knows what's happening. We're going to see less of it, and what we do see will be just like the best stuff instead of weird dragon eggs. You know, that all of the unnecessary fluff CGI might just disappear.
I think that's probably true. Also, as the VFX department on the show gets used to the visual language and the visual language, like, it's the first season, so
and they build up a library of already created weaves and flows and shit.
Yeah,
it's gonna be better.
Do you know what Aes Sedai?
That is Steppen, right?
That is Steppen.
I saw someone was like, "Oh, I think that's Tom Maryland." That's not Tom Maryland. That is Steppen.
I don't think that's Tom.
No, it's not Tom.
Means in the old time.
They have the same haircut.
Do they?
Yeah.
Help us out, chat.
Help us out, chat. Is that Tom? I think it's Steppen.
I thought it was Steppen too, but I'm not sure now. I'm doubting myself. It doesn't really matter.
Me too. I'm super doubting myself.
Servants of all. It is they who serve the world.
Can we talk Tom now?
Mm-hmm.
Why ain't I see any fluttering patches?
It is Steppen.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Why didn't I see any fluttering patches? I will ride if there are no fluttering patches.
Are you talking about in this trailer, or are you talking about in what we saw previously?
What we saw previously.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Tom after the trailer.
Okay, fine. I just had to talk about it before I forgot.
I didn't choose this path, but I will follow it.
Where next?
The two rivers. The old blood runs deep in those mountains.
I did see an interesting thing put forward. I think everything we know from everyone I've talked to who hasn't read The Wheel of Time, who's watched the trailers, and I've shown it to quite a few friends, everyone's pretty sure Rand is the Dragon Reborn.
Really?
Yeah, which is okay. Like, I don't think the success of the show hinges on that mystery. I think it's more interesting when you know who Rand is, personally. But
I mean, I think it's going to be obvious after like episode 2.
Right. Yeah. But I did see some people latch onto this line.
Rivers. The old blood runs deep in those mountains.
Where Moiraine's focus on the old blood might lead viewers to realize Rand is from outside the two rivers, to like discount him as an option because he doesn't have the old blood.
I like that theory.
They didn't give Brandon Sanderson some credit. Well, to be fair, Caitlin, Brandon Sanderson did not write the first 3 books. So, nothing.
But he is a producer, right? Or in a.
But Caitlin, I think, was talking about the
person may kill another.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Never to use the.
I assume Brandon is okay with it. Robert Jordan getting credit.
Follow it.
If I were Brandon Sanderson, I probably would have insisted.
The old blood runs deep in those mountains.
I love the little gesture of the ancient symbol of the Aes Sedai and the water here.
Yeah,
I
totally see it. You know what? I didn't notice that until right now, but I totally see it.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that.
Let's hope it's prepared then for what's coming.
Can you remove the comment?
The Dark One is waking. But there will be one who can stand against him. And it's one of the 5 of you.
Okay, I just want to point this out to throw shade at someone who's not here to defend themselves. I don't even know their name. There was like a big Reddit debate where someone was like, Moiraine said one of the 5 of you, but she couldn't say that if she knew the Dragon Reborn had to be a man because it would be a lie. I
actually did see that discussion on Twitter, and I think that's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
It's also just not true. That's not how logic works.
No, it is one of the 5 of you.
She could say the Dragon Reborn is one of the 700 people who live in Emond's Field. Like, that's still true. If she thinks one of them is the Dragon Reborn, it doesn't matter what number she gives it.
Yeah.
She hasn't lied, people.
Yeah, I heard that too, and I was like, that's the dumbest misunderstanding of logic possible. Yeah. Like, it shouldn't have even been a discussion.
No, it's okay.
Shade.
To answer your question, Rafe said the Gleeman's cloak is reversible, so the hatches aren't always showing.
Ooh, okay, I can't wait to see it. But that means that we do get patches. Great.
You
You've fully lost your mind.
Your life isn't going to be what you thought.
Moraine,
What are those?
What are those?
His army is coming.
what can we do?
We protect the people we love.
I saw a
matter the cost.
discussion of how it is super cool, and I agree with this. It's super cool that they are framing Rand with the bow every chance they get. Rand with the bow, Rand with the bow. Every shot, Rand with the bow. Rand emoji has a bow. And I think that's really cool because this is what the poster on Twitter said, and I agree with them, that it's going to be such an important shift when Rand gives up the bow for the sword, for the Heron Mark sword. It's going to mark a really important moment in his journey. And I think that's so true. I think that was a really smart decision from the showrunners to frame it that way.
I like that. I had not considered that. Andrew Willis Woodward says, also a fun nuance here. Pretty sure 5 is an overdub. I think she actually says 4 because Nynaeve isn't in that conversation because she didn't leave with the initial group.
Andrew, what an amazing comment. Can we go back and listen and see if we can identify that dub?
Yeah, where did that happen?
I think it's after that.
Blood runs deep in those mountains. Let's hope it's prepared them for what's coming. The Dark One is waking. But there will be one who can stand against him. And it's one of the 5 of you.
Go back to her mouth, like the first
5 of you.
frame. If we could get the first frame of her mouth.
It's one of the 5
4
She's saying
of
4.
you.
of you. Oh
fully
my
lost your mind.
gosh.
Good catch.
Andrew.
Andrew.
Life isn't going to be what
Good
you thought.
catch.
That is an awesome.
If you hadn't said anything, I would never have known. But she's
I would never
definitely
have
saying
noticed that.
4 of you.
Yes. Connor L. in New Spring, is it known that the dragon was born on Dragonmount? Yes, it is. When is it the Keeper of the Stoles who gives the prophecy? Yeah, the Keeper. He's like, he cries, He's slopes of Dragonmount. Yeah, it's known. It's on the slopes of Dragonmount.
But I don't know if it's known in the show.
We don't know whether or not that's known in the show, but we will see the blood snow. So
That is totally, totally rad.
you think the show is making people think the Dragon Reborn could be Egwene or Matt? Says Caitlin.
I know they definitely want
Well, when we
people
don't
to
have
be able to think that. Yeah.
when we don't have Rand's POV centering everything, and Matt and Egwene start shouting out the old tongue at random, I think that will lead people astray.
And if Perrin starts talking to wolves, people who haven't read the books might be like, oh, weird powers. That could be a sign of being special.
His cry is like thunder. Yes.
It is so funny. Just a baby.
No,
Just a
it's not
baby.
just a baby. He is
Pretty
a
sure he's
dragon.
just a baby right now.
American dragon. That's one of the memes I never made.
Jake Long, American
Jake
Dragon.
Long, American
I
Dragon.
love that show. Andrew says, my guess is they had her overdub the 5
Yeah.
just to add a bit more mystery for the official trailer. I totally agree with you, Andrew.
Definitely.
And Matt Stagger says that she does in fact say 4, the 4 of you, according to people who saw that scene at the European Con. That is such an interesting catch. I'm so glad to have noticed that. Thank you, Matt Stagger, and thank you, Andrew, for pointing that out to us.
Maurice just says,
Yeah.
in the books, Moiraine knows it's Rand almost immediately.
Yes.
She plays dumb because she wants the others to come too.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and
think
that's
she thinks it's
because she knows
probably
from
Rand.
the prophecy that the Dragon Reborn was born on the slopes of Dragonmount, and we know for a fact that Matt, Perrin, and Egwene were born in the True Rivers, and Rand is the only one who was not. So, of course, she knows immediately. I wonder if in the show that won't be part of the prophecy, so it becomes slightly murkier for like an episode longer. Like it's just not
Yeah.
going to be a mystery for very long.
I don't
It's
think the
not.
mystery matters. I think the faster they can reveal Rand and get to his journey as the dragon, that's the more interesting story. Like, they have 8 seasons to tell the whole 14-book series.
Right.
I think it's way more like Rand's journey. He has so much arc to get through. He has to like accept that he's the dragon, which takes a long time. He has to figure out how to be the dragon. He has to have Darth Rand. He has to have Zin Rand. Like, I think wasting a whole season on the mystery of who is the dragon, I don't think that would be the right way to play it.
I don't think it's going to be a whole season at all. I think it's going to be a couple episodes. But I do agree. I will say I do agree that it's better marketing to have it be a mystery. Who is the Dragon Reborn?
Yeah.
I think that's way better marketing than to get somebody interested in this guy that they don't know, right? Instead of being like, this guy's super important, people will be like, I don't care. If it's like, who is the savior? People are like, you know what? Maybe I might actually want to know. Or, you know what? I bet that's way better marketing. Even if it only lasts like 2 or 3 episodes as a mystery. It's really
well. The first 3 episodes are being released simultaneously, so if they're trying to build buzz over the mystery, it wouldn't come till episode 4 or 5.
Oh, the reveal, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I were them, then the reveal, the like concrete reveal that we know it for sure, probably wouldn't come until episode 4. If I were them,
I don't think we'll know it for sure for a long time.
Really,
I do think there's value in Rand wondering if he's being used by the Aes Sedai as a false dragon.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But I think like him channeling, like in Green
Logain
Spring.
can channel too.
Huh?
Logain can channel too. Oh, you mean that? Yeah. The reveal that he's a man that can channel, I think will happen episode 4. Maybe at the end of episode 3. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think that's when it's going to happen. And that's when the audience is going to go, oh, Rand's the dragon. And then we get confirmation later in the season.
Because it's only 8 episodes in the whole season.
I know. It's crazy. There's
episode
a lot
1
to
is
get
Winter
done.
Night. Episode 2 is Shadow Logoth. I think episode 3, at least on Rand's journey, is Breen Spring. By episode 8, we have to get to Tarwin's Gap. And I think we will have an episode in Fal Dara before Tarwin's Gap. So there's 3 episodes to get from Breen Spring to Fal Dara.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those will be the Ways.
Yeah.
And one will be a Tar Valon.
Yeah. Are we going to get portal stones, do you think?
I think the that wouldn't be till season 2.
Right. Okay. Just curious.
I hope we get portal stones. People have theorized they're going to combine portal stones with the Waygates. I like portal stones independent from the Waygates personally. I think they do interesting things. Connor L says, I don't think she knows they're Ta'veren, referring to Mat and Perrin. That's not a talent of hers. I think she only made them come with her in the books because the Trollocs attacked their houses. Yeah, I think Moiraine doesn't know for sure which of them is the dragon. I think she suspects it's Rand. But she knows the Dark One is interested in Mat and Perrin. And
yeah,
she
knows
take
that
any
the
chances.
Dark One is after them regardless. And so she's just going to scoop them all up.
Is episode 4 called The Dragon Reborn? Well, there you go, Pentor Tash. I haven't looked at the episode titles. So I don't know.
Okay, let's keep watching. Because I want to get to the posters and the...
Others? His army is coming.
What can we do?
We protect the people we love.
That Trolloc
No
sword
matter
is
the
so
cost.
bad. Longuno.
Our enemies are
Land of
everywhere.
Milan. One note that I saw someone point out is you can see the fire reflected in his cup. So he is... This is not a scene that just takes place after. This is...
Oh my
the
God.
moment
This
it's
is
happening.
outdoors. Behind him is a tent.
Yes.
I thought he was in like some dining hall. Oh my God, I didn't notice that.
He is feasting while watching this burning Aes Sedai. And you can
And
also
he like
notice
clearly dabbed a bit of blood off from something. Maybe
there's
she
blood
like
on his fingers. And you can see them
They will
on his cup.
still here in the next scene.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I've loved the White Cloak discourse on
Our
Twitter.
enemies are everywhere.
I'm gonna emphasize the fact that the White Cloaks in the show are so much more dangerous, so much more capable, and so much more of a threat than they are in the books. I saw some people on Twitter being like, they were always a threat. They murdered an Amyrlin 700 years ago. Like, we never really see them as be threatening, especially towards Aes Sedai. We see a little bit when the Questioners are traveling west towards Falm and committing absolute atrocities in the name of the light, but we don't really see it happening.
Yeah.
So this is a huge change for me.
It's a big change, and I think it's.
But I'm into it, super into it.
I think it's a good change.
Holy crap! You can see the fire in his goblet.
Yeah, Marisu. That was part of what we were theorizing about as well when we first watched the trailer.
You were one of the first people, Sarah, I heard to mention Steadings as well.
I know. On the Dusty Wheel, someone mentioned Steadings during the trailer live stream day and got a lot of credit for it, Mr. Stubbles, and good for you. I'm glad we agree. I will point out, when Mary Lou and I first had a conversation about maybe being able to see rings on Eamon Valda.
Yeah, you said that before the trailer ever came out.
I theorized they might use Steadings. I did it.
True.
You could go watch it. The proof's on YouTube.
We've got receipts, folks.
You hear that? You hear that, Matt? Innkeeper, bring me on your show again.
She's the one. She's the one.
Head trauma keeps people from channeling. True. Yeah,
True.
There's a few times when people get captured just to get hit with rocks.
Right. The Supergirls, when Nynaeve, Elaine, and Egwene are captured, it's because they were hit really hard on the head. If they get sneaked up on, I know.
Eamon Valda is the smuggest person I've ever seen in my life. This actor is nailing it.
He's the Ramsay. I know we hate the comparison, but he is absolutely the Ramsay Joffrey of this show. We are going to love to hate him, and he's going to be so good at being bad. He's terrifying.
Yes, Lisa says, I'm terrified of the White Cloaks in the series far more than Shadowspawn and the Dark One. I think the reason they had to do this from a narrative perspective is the Eye of the World is about the teenagers. Moiraine is there, but she's a Gandalf. Like, she's not really a character. So
in the books.
In the book. So Trollocs, Dark Friends, these are enough of a threat because they are dangerous to Rand, Perrin, Egwene, Mat. But now that the shift of the narrative has focused so much onto Moiraine and onto the Aes Sedai and onto the Warders, we needed to up the threat level in order to keep the narrative compelling, which is why the White Cloaks, I think, get this upgrade in villain status.
God, the blood on his fingers disgusts me. God, I thank you so much for pointing this out. This is like revelatory for me. This fire in the goblet. What a good shot.
It's such a good
great shot. The cinematography of this moment is so cool.
You know who else is competent? Whoever does White Cloak laundry. Yeah, so whoever is following these White Cloaks around, scrubbing them cloaks.
I think they do it themselves.
I like that idea.
I think it's part of their like penance and their like weird self-flagellation and like.
Maybe some do. Eamon Valda doesn't.
No, Eamon Valda does not.
They will leave no one.
I did see a note. Someone started some discourse, which I think is worth paying attention to, that on what they perceived as like colorism and the casting of the show thus far, where we have people of color as protagonists, but they're lighter skinned, and the two like darker black men we see are Eamon Valda and Padan Fain. So, I mean, there are still many, many characters to come out, be announced, and be cast. But I thought it was worth.
That is absolutely worth mentioning because that is just factually true. The two darkest skinned actors are the two evilest characters.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to keep our eye on that.
They will leave no.
I mean, and that's not a comment on the actors at all.
No.
I don't know this actor's name. He is absolutely
so far, he's doing
nailing
a terrific
his
job
role.
of terrifying. Oh, you know what?
They will leave no one standing.
I have seen discourse that perhaps I keep saying discourse. It's a fun word to say.
I love the Twitter discourse.
Love the Twitter discourse. Love to participate in the discourse. I have heard people say, "God, look at the blood on his fingers still." Freaky. I have heard people say, "What if that's just a traveler woman?" Or what if that's just is traveler an offensive word? I forget.
No. Traveler is okay.
Right. What is the offensive word? I even forgot the one that I meant to forget. Great. I'm not even going to say it.
Rafe
what if
does
it's
use it in his commentary. So we're talking about the word tinker, which is a pejorative term used to refer to the Irish and Scottish traveling people who are an actual ethnicity. And there has previously been some debate over whether or not the show will include the word tinker as a slur and whether or not they should. Rafe uses it in his IGN commentary,
Oh, he
so I
does.
think they
Okay.
will.
Okay, great. Then I'm going to say tinker because we're not referring to the ethnic subgroup of Irish and
I'm
Scottish.
still going to say traveling folk.
Traveling folk. Okay, I'll say travelers. So if this is a traveler woman, or if it's just like a village wisdom who happened to be wearing a yellow dress, I think that would be interesting, right? If they're just like burning an innocent woman. I don't think so. I think this is a yellow sister because of the yellow dress and the yellow ring, which makes them even more of a threat. So
Oh yeah, I think definitely. I mean, the dress is too nice to be a random village woman.
I think so as well. And she's got blood dripping down her neck.
Yeah, and the ring, I think, ends the
Seals
question.
the deal. Yeah, ends the question.
Again, yes, I am positive that they burn many non-Aes Sedai women, but
Certain
this
of it.
time they're burning an Aes Sedai.
Absolutely.
They will leave no one standing.
Now this
so
scene.
We thought this was a funeral, but more people seem to be thinking this is a bonding ceremony.
Really?
I still think it might be a funeral. I still stand by my guess of the Agilmar as Lan's father figure dying, but
I've also heard that. I don't think this is a bonding ceremony.
the reason people think that is because the bonding is described as painful for the warders, the ceremony in the books, and Rosamund Pike called into the Dusty Wheel and talked about how important like the warder bond is, and how there's a scene you can see in the trailer that shows the depth of the bond. I still think she means the emotional bond, and this is Agilmar's funeral, personally.
Yeah, because he's suffering and so Moraine's feeling it.
Yeah.
Because they share that emotional bond. Yeah, if this were a bonding ceremony, I wouldn't see so many people around. There's like people behind Moiraine too. And
yeah. I also think an emotional Lan is wonderful. We don't need Lan to be a stone who can't blink. And like, I think the depiction of Lan in the books is totally fine because Lan is traumatized, and I think Lan's stony emotionlessness is a manifestation of his trauma.
It's a trauma response. Absolutely.
It's not presented in the books as necessarily healthy or good. But I like the choice of taking your big, strong sword male protagonist when you don't have 14 books, when you are reaching a mass audience who might not have time to read into that nuance, and instead giving us a Lan who is more in tune with his emotions and has a healthier relationship with them.
Yeah.
As like just a better example of a positive masculinity. I think that's fine.
Totally.
So Susan says, I thought he was feeling her pain while she maintains her Aes Sedai calm.
Oh, I see that, but opposite. I see that as her feeling his pain while still maintaining her Aes Sedai calm.
Andrew says Rafe acknowledged that this is surprising to see from Lan for book fans, and he did, yeah. But that something really bad happened to prompt it. Agilmar dead. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, that's our
Final
official.
answer.
That's our official speculation.
Yeah.
Funeral makes the most sense. Agree, Matt Stagger. Okay, let's keep going.
We've lost too many people already. I can't lose you.
Sure.
So this is Tom here sliding the dagger out.
Ooh, I missed that. The
Another-
first time I saw this. Matt, yep, Tom sliding his daggers out to fight what looks like
The Murdral
on Shaidar on
a horse.
On a
It looks like a
horse.
Murdral. That looks like just a Murdral.
just a minute.
Another
Could be
interesting
Shaidar
note
on.
I can't lose you.
about this scene. Someone pointed out, we haven't seen any shots of Perrin where we could see his face post Shatter Logoth. So that might be because he already has yellow eyes.
And yes, we did get confirmation that that's Aram in the corner.
That
not
is
Cal.
Aram. Yes,
Mhm.
we did get that confirmation.
Which I did speculate. Just if
You
in,
did.
just
You got that right.
you know, if
I don't
we're
think their clothes are
counting-
colorful enough. Look, the Tinkers are supposed to be like eye-blindingly bright, and this
I know
is
he's
it's a
got some stripes. Maybe other people are eye-blindingly bright.
But we see like the shot of the Tuatha'an, and their camp is very dull, and like it is a combination of colors, but they're dull colors, and that bothers me.
I don't know. Yeah,
Tom or female assassin? It is Tom, I think,
I think it's Tom fighting the Murdral.
for sure.
That's what I think.
Maybe Bukama's death. Yeah, so Bukama's death in New Spring gives Lan this reaction. That's referring to the Lan's pain. I think they're using. They're going to be merging Agelmar and Bukama. I think Agelmar is going to be Lan's dad figure.
I think so.
They just wouldn't have enough time
in the
to-
show.
Yeah, they wouldn't have enough time to establish.
This is part of. Remember when I
relationship.
said that I thought they might be?
Shidar On translates to the Dark One, Mary Lou.
I did not know that. Cool.
Thank you, Pintortesh. Aram is just knocked out. They're not going to
I
give
think
us
he's
Aram
just
and
knocked
kill
out.
him.
He's not important. For some reason, the White Cloaks know that Egwene and Perrin are important. That will be interesting to figure out why they want to capture them and not Aram.
Yellow eyes.
Probably.
You won't.
Oh,
I
that's
love
so
that
sad.
shot.
When Rand says, I can't lose you.
Oh yeah.
And Egwene says, you won't.
I love Nynaeve and Egwene just like fighting a Trolloc with
Fighting a
dick.
If
Trolloc.
we do not stop the Dark One now,
Okay, our only little shot in the trailer of Loyal.
I know.
the
Look at him
Dark
all
One
hungry,
now,
trying to
the whole world will.
This is a
That's good
shot.
editing, choosing the one take where you can see him, but you can't see him. Great editing.
Loyal's was always way bigger in your mind. Loyal is canonically like 10 feet tall. He is
Yeah.
taller than a Trolloc,
Correct.
and Trollocs get up to 10 feet tall.
So
When
I
we can
think,
see Loyal here, where do we see him?
yeah, who's
He's
he? But
crouching. He's leaning over. He's crouching, but even
oh,
still,
he's
look at
also
him relative.
he's
to
a good
Perrin.
6 feet in front of Nynaeve. So it's not like he's the same height as Nynaeve when he's crouching like this, because he's very, very, very far behind her.
I think
right?
I think this is just a scene where he's crouching and that he is still going to be significantly taller.
I think he's going to be significantly taller, but I don't know if he's going to be 10 feet because we're going to see him on camera all the time. And I don't know. I think they'll figure it out,
Book
though.
says no one would believe a Tuatha'an could be a dark friend. The way of the leaf is too counter to being a dark friend. There are dark friends even among the traveling people, and we know that from Bor's prologue in The Great Hunt. When Bors is at that gathering of dark friends,
The dark dinner
He-
party.
he specifically says, like, oh yeah, and that person with their coat, that's a traveling person.
It's true.
They made the Trollocs smaller, so maybe Ogier too. I mean, they do have to make them a little smaller.
Because they're practical,
practical.
right? Which I'm glad. I'm glad they made the choice to make them practical effects, real
Yeah.
human beings in costumes. I will take them being a little bit smaller if that means no CGI.
But he will still be big.
Yes, he will be big.
No.
Tom,
Go Nynaeve, run.
this is Tom fighting a Fade
Cool.
with knives.
Very cool. Go, Tom, go.
Boom, look at that. Catches
Look at that. Look at that black
I
Murdral
love
sword.
that black arm and that cloak. Oh, I'm so
Terrifying.
excited.
Love it.
I'm so
Can't wait to see
excited.
that. That scene's gonna be so sick.
Are there Ogier dark friends? There's
That
no
I do not
evidence
think so.
of Ogier dark friends.
What?
There's no evidence of Ogier dark friends.
Right. And I agree because we need to have an episode on Ogier. I think they are totally separate from
Yeah.
the pattern because
They're
they're
not
really-
separate from the pattern, Mary Lou.
Maybe not the pattern, but
They're not native to this iteration. I think the Book of Translation. We'll have a whole discussion on what the
We'll
Book
talk
of
about it.
Translation means.
I don't think they're Ogier dark friends.
Still
Yeah.
salty about no long mustache on Tom.
Me too, Caitlin. It's the thing I'm saltiest about. It is
In this shot,
absolutely
you
the
can
thing I'm
see how
saltiest
people
about.
would think of Fade as just a man. Yeah, they're man-sized, and when the cloak is up and shading their face, they look like a
You
man.
could think it's just a pale weirdo.
which I'm happy about because the first shot we got of the Murdral with the big gory hole mouth, I was worried, and now though I seem okay. Ogier are the only ones implicitly trusted by the Shanshad. Yeah, I think Ogier. There are no Ogier dark friends.
No, I think they exist.
This will be the longest 21 days of my life.
I know, right, Susan? That's why we're trying to fill it all with all of these streams so we have something to talk about before the show.
A Tuatha'an might think the only path to a non-violent world is through the shadow. And a Tuatha'an who grew up and was born a Tuatha'an and grew up in the culture might just not agree with the way of the leaf. Just because they're raised in the culture doesn't mean they buy into it.
Example, Aram.
Aram.
The whole world will burn.
Love it.
Love
Just
it.
wanted to pause to enjoy it.
It's really good.
I can't allow it.
Okay. We didn't slow down enough to see Big Bird Trolloc.
Big Bird Trolloc with those crazy
weird.
horns.
It looks
wow,
so terrifying.
freaky.
Did y'all see Big Bird Trolloc?
I did not see Big Bird Trolloc.
There's also
I've never
like a
seen it
deer
before.
Trolloc here. You can see the deer legs and the deer antlers.
Oh my god, yeah, like the goat. Freaky. Yeah, creepy.
Fucking
Love it.
bird Trolloc, baby. It's got a beak. It's got feathers
And horns.
and horns. It's
Those
a weirdo.
like white eyes that are reflecting. I know they're not
It-
white, but
It looks
they're
really
very
silly
close
to
together
me.
like a predator.
It looks stupid and silly. It looks like this is from like someone like a film. I don't know. This looks like it's from an indie horror movie about like a horror version of Chuck E. Cheese, and this is like an animatronic mascot
Yuck.
from that movie. Yeah, it's like
I just don't know how they would have done it better.
this is Mr. Quackers. Oh, I don't know.
Gotta look a little
This is just
Ducky
this
nowadays.
one shot with has weird lighting that might be doing that. He might look much better in the show.
I think it'll look better, especially in movement.
Chicken.
Chick, chick.
Yeah, he looks like a Power Rangers monster. Yeah.
It does a little. Honest. Ooh, now that you say that, it does look like a Power Rangers monster.
And the Trolloc sword is huge. Sure.
Yeah. I like how the eyes are really close together like a predator, though.
Yeah. Okay.
And I love it.
People love
is
the
that?
scene of the milting, Logain milting his cage.
Oh, I had no idea what that was. Logain melting his cage. Freaky. Love that.
Yeah, it's
Super
good.
cool.
It's a good shot.
Very
And I love
cool.
that Logain, like, as opposed to the Aes Sedai, who, as we've pointed out, like, let's watch Moraine shoot this fireball.
I can't
Hand
allow it.
movement.
It's very much this dance motion. This,
She throws
as
them
she
up
has
and then she throws them
described.
forward, right?
And the Aes Sedai use all these hand motions.
Not
to channel,
Logain.
but yes, Logain doesn't just. Oh, Mary Lou, are your headphones charged yet?
They will be.
Okay. We're just switching over. We're doing a little echo.
We're doing a little
fighting
dance.
here.
Give me 1 second. It's shockingly hard to connect to my AirPods from the computer. I have like to press 10,000 buttons. Okay, say something.
Hello.
Yeah, there we go.
Great. Yeah, so Moraine does this dance. It's very arm, hand motion oriented. Logain just does this with like a roll of his neck, which I love.
Oh, so scary.
It's so good.
He's so scary. This is Fat Boy, everyone.
Hi, Fat Boy.
Sometimes he needs a hug, and so he needs a hug right now.
Yeah, that's why the White Cloaks trap the Aes Sedai to stop them from moving their hands.
I think that's part of why the Yellow Sister is blindfolded as well. If you can't see and you can't move your hands, I think an Aes Sedai is kind of SOL because of the training they've received.
And then here is this Gale Dunnan dagger being stopped by the One Power.
Love that.
I saw some people on Twitter being like, "Is that Matt trying to stab Logain?" It's not. That is not the ruby hilted dagger.
No, of course not.
This scene we saw in the making of clip from a different angle.
Totally.
I love it. I love how her warders are just like, "Yep, time to duck them heads."
Yep, time to duck because she's doing her floating thing. Now, this is my favorite scene in the whole trailer.
Okay.
This is my favorite scene in the whole trailer. Absolutely. And I've heard some theories on it, and I want to talk to you about them.
Yes. So what have you heard?
So I have heard that this might be one of the opening scenes of the first episode where we
Oh.
get a flashback to Moiraine and Swan receiving the prophecy. And then we also get flashed sideways to the birth of the Dragon Reborn on the steps of Dragonmount. As the prophecy is being told, it's being sort of like shown as this is the bloody snow, and we see Tam find the baby, and perhaps this person is Tigraine.
Yeah, so as Marisa just said, I'm going to point out we don't see that Aiel's belly. I think there's a good chance this is Tigraine. I think that you could definitely be right. It's an interesting choice. I think you might be right in that I think that might be how they do it. I was thinking this would be a flash sideways that we get during Tam's fevered
That was my first.
mumbling,
That was also what I
which
thought when I
think
first
would
saw
work
this.
better personally, but because I
Sure.
think this would give away too much going into like the bucolic setting of the kids.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if I disagree with you. I thought at first that this would be fever dream flashes. And I kind of like that better, but I think it's very interesting as an opening scene. Oh, this is why I thought it was interesting, because I think someone mentioned, maybe it was Rosamund in her interview, that they're replacing the prologue, right? So our prologue that we start off with is Luz Theron
Yeah.
creating Dragonmount, right? We're not getting that in the show. So instead, as a prologue, I heard it might be Bloody Snow instead.
What Rosamund actually said, and this doesn't, that's a possible interpretation of what she said. What she said is they're replacing the original opening scene they had filmed for the show. She didn't say they were replacing the
Oh.
prologue.
Oh, that's okay. So I misunderstood I heard a telephone.
Yeah,
You know,
so they
Rosamund
had
Rosamund said.
filmed a scene that was meant to be the opening of the show that
Oh.
it was a Moiraine scene, because she said like she was really proud of it. It did a lot of like character building for Moiraine, and that got cut and replaced with a different scene.
Interesting.
I think it may have either been Moiraine and Swan hearing the prophecy that got replaced, because it was decided this would be too weird. You don't know who these people are. This prophecy means nothing to an audience who hasn't read the books.
Okay.
And maybe replaced with this action sequence, perhaps, if that's what they're doing.
Oh, interesting.
I also think
Very interesting.
she was also referring to the Cry from Enethrin speech, which I think has been cut. It sounds like.
Oh, bummer. Love the cry from Enethrin.
Yeah, if they start with this, Tam's son is the dragon. I agree, and that's why I think it's weird that they would open with this.
Well,
But-
we might not find out that it's Tam
Yeah,
until much later in the series. We see, or maybe in the fever dream, we find out that this person that she yanks by the cape, I say she, we have no idea, that the Aiel yanks by the cape is Tam. I would love to see that reveal. That would be
Yeah.
super cool.
Rafe suggested that these are characters we will get to know in later seasons. So there's also a chance that this is Amos in her maiden's days before she becomes a wise one. That is a chance.
That
It's
is
gauche.
sick. I would love that.
But yeah, I think they nailed the look of the Aiel. I love the way
Totally.
they move. I love these short spears and the buckler.
Love the short spears. Love the buckler. Love the outfit.
I'm really excited to see this scene in full.
It's by far my favorite part of the trailer. I can't stop thinking about these images of the Aiel in the snow.
When do we think we'll get Balsamon? Let's turn to this after we
Later.
finish this Aiel scene.
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw someone on Twitter was like theorizing that this scene here had been rotated and that this was Janduin saving Tam's life from falling off a mountain. I don't think it has been rotated. We can see the mountain on the right. The clouds look like they're
Mhm.
properly oriented.
Mhm.
So I don't think that's what this is, though I liked the idea that the interaction of Tam and Janduin is not a fight, but Janduin saving Tam's life.
Yeah.
I thought would be cool.
Super cool.
but it looks so good. I love
So gorgeous. The colors.
it's
The
such a
way
good
they-
shot.
The way the yellow is so bright, but also soiled. The way the feathers on
Yeah.
his helmet have been ripped.
Hmm.
The way the
It's great.
blood smears his shining armor, and the way the blood and the dirt on the white Aiel outfit
Mhm.
actually adds to the camouflage. I am struck by these images. I think they are so good.
And here, if this is Janduin, which I think it is, so I'm just going to refer to them as Janduin, both of his feet are in the air. So he's either doing some really cool, like, jump and grab the cape and use his momentum to drag Tam down or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm excited! Susan thinks we'll get Manetheren later, and Talmanes points out at least we will hear Rosamund read the Weep from Manetheren speech in her audiobook.
So cool. So cool.
Spears are gone, no visible weapons.
Which
True.
makes me think this is a different Aiel than that one that's walking through the battlefield.
Matthew thinks the opening scene will be Loghain attacking the King of Ghealdan to show the danger male channelers pose and introduce the Aes Sedai. I like that idea.
Ooh, that's a sick idea.
I think, yeah, I'm going to stick with my idea that I think we get this Blood Snow during Tam's fevered.
That was my
ramblings.
first instinct as well. And I would love that.
Because there's not going to be any surprise when Tam pulls out his sword to fight the Trolloc if we know he was a soldier.
Ooh, great point. You know what? So I'm changing my opinion completely. I think you're absolutely right. Official speculation. This is a fever dream flashback.
Yeah.
The wheel weaves as the wheel wills.
You
Doesn't
think
get
we'll
better.
ever go back?
Home? No.
Okay.
I love so I've heard Lauren said that is a like opera in the old tongue.
What I think he said, because I was watching that interview, is that if you listen to all of the show soundtrack, first of all, they only use the old tongue. All singing is old tongue. There's not going to be any random syllables of ahs and oohs, and there's not going to be any English. It's all old tongue. The entire soundtrack is an opera. He
I
said.
love that. I love that.
Yes.
I love it, you guys. I love it.
It's very good.
I love it.
There's a super quick scene of Loghain walking through dust on what looks like a castle in that
I
little
think
last
that's his
bit there.
attack his attack on Gildan.
Home?
No, I think it's right before. Before that
Oh, before this.
moment. Before the title. It's right
Okay.
after the Aiel cape shot.
Wow, wow, wow.
Right after the
Ah, yes. Yeah, we've seen this clip. That was in the Loghain little Twitter video they did.
Yeah, so that's a really good prediction that it opens with this attack on a castle, Loghain taking the King of Ghealdan. It's a huge threat. And then we are opened, into them hunting for him.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Good call, Matthew. or
And then
whoever
maybe
said
she
that.
ditches the hunt for
Matthew.
him. She ditches the hunt for him to go to the Two Rivers, and that's what gets her in trouble with the White Tower. That's my opinion.
I like that. The Lauren interview is really good. I love Lauren. He was very fun.
Super cool.
Okay. That
love
is
this trailer.
Mary Lou.
Thank you for showing me things that I didn't see before from
A lot
this
of them were
trailer.
things that I gleaned from other people's breakdowns. So go watch
Love that.
everyone's breakdown.
Yes.
And
Thank
also
you,
from
everyone.
Rafe's breakdown he did on IGN.
Thank you, everyone. That was so fun.
Friends, thank you so much for joining us. Mary Lou, where can people find you when you're not
You
on the stream?
You can find me at Mary Lou Larry Moo on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram.
And you can find me at Spear Maidens on Twitter and on our channels, Maidens of the Spear on Twitch and YouTube. And we're so happy to have had you. We had a really good time. We hope you had a really good time and enjoy the rest of your Friday.